Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, hi.
Hey man, how are you?
I'm fine.
What are you up to today? Same. Do you have the same topic?
The topics are all up here. I don't know what you mean.
I can't read the EV. Everyone is because there's something in blocking it. I can read the Big Bang happened. Yes, the Big Bang happened.
Evolution is true is the top one.
Evolution is true. Cool. Evolution is true. But do we have any time track for this?
Do I have any time? What?
Do we have any like? Can we track the time? Like, do we have an exact time, or would we just guess?
What do you mean by exact time? What is a window of time that you would accept?
So let's say that they say that I am 18 years old now. That is 18 times 12 months, which is, the sun going around and all that. How long has it been since the sun's formed? Just our galaxy, not the universe. Or was it all formed at once?
The sun formed 4.6 billion years ago.
Cool. Okay. Do we have soul in us, or do we just carry this light in our head?
There's no evidence that anybody has a soul.
Fair enough. So we just function because Earth can host life.
We don't function because of that. I mean, that's what allows us to function, but it's not part of our function.
I'm trying to wrap my head around it. So there is life on other planets in our solar system.
We have no idea.
We have no idea.
Yeah. Why would that follow from anything that's been said so far? Because we said something that's I don't get that. That was
I'm
weird.
just trying to get my head around like who we are. You and me, there's no difference between you and me. We can speak, we can see, we can do everything. We just wear different clothes, different color of the skin outside, but everything else is the same. But our belief that being put into our minds are different.
This is very like vague and unscientific. So I have no idea how to have a conversation when you say things like that.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to get my head around it because I'm not probably as um,
Well,
I am still kind of
what are
intellectual.
like pick something that we can talk about.
I would really like to talk about the God element, like what people call God. The God element that we all talk about. Like we just say, pray to God, Jesus Christ, and all that. Because if you read the Bible, it sounds like a physics book to me rather than physics books
Name
with a
name
movie.
anything vaguely scientific in the Bible.
It died and resurrected after 3 days. Was that the longest day of the sun going down and coming back after 3 days?
That's not scientific. I asked for say something that's scientific from the Bible.
God, supreme being, divine power, creator. Maybe I'm too dumb for this, but I'm learning.
I don't know. I
But
mean, you
really,
just like
what is your opinion on
just
God?
don't say something that you don't
True.
have an argument or a position for.
But I agree with the things, but I know, does God means God, or does it mean just a different definition for everyone? Like, do you have a belief in God? Like, do you believe in something like they, the creator, the destroyer, or whatever they call it? No?
Nope.
So how did this happen? Who is, so there is Earth, this big piece of rock floating through space and just happened to be there.
What does it just happen to be there mean? It
This
exists.
big piece of rock just happened to be there floating through space and,
There's
following the
nothing
sun.
miraculous about Earth existing.
There's nothing miraculous about it. Blows my mind, dude. How is this rock floating?
Gravity.
So So the gravity is not created by the centripetal and the centrifugal force, it's created by the floating.
Gravity is a result of it's from general relativity. Massive objects warp space, and they mutually attract each other.
So the Earth core is not so Earth core is not attracting things, it just happened to fall.
The Earth over so things are attracted to the center of Earth's mass, but it's not like Earth's core has something in there that's being like it's like the collective mass of the Earth.
And that doesn't blow your mind that we are just floating through space.
It doesn't blow my I think it's pretty cool, but there's nothing miraculous about it.
Dude, there's this big piece of rock floating through, everything is sticking to it.
Yep,
Happens to
nothing
just
miraculous about that at all.
surely that I believe I consider myself too small in this universe to be able to say that it's not miraculous because we are actually tiny, don't even exist.
It's understandable though. Miracles aren't understandable.
Okay, is pain, feeling, and emotions local?
What?
Is pain, feeling, and emotions local on Earth, or is it felt um, through? Does moon feel pain?
I really doubt it.
Is sun suffering because it's burning?
I really doubt it.
So we feel pain, and that's real because we feel it.
Yes.
So the pain is local. I have no argument for you,
Okay.
but I'm enjoying it.
All right. Well, um, I'm not. So there we go. Hello.
Hi.
What's up?
I want to meet you in the middle. I have some theories about the progression of life on worlds, and to sync it up real fast, it's the presence of a god or religion is part of the evolutionary process. Be that war often nets technological advancements. So if that is true, that statement on our planet, then it also happens to be in multiple other planets. And that life that we know it is really just a process that multiple planets are going through. Unfortunately, we live so long and we only get the little snippets of it. Just looking for someone to opine on what I'm talking about, if you follow.
I don't.
I take the idea that, I would say in the 90s and somewhat in the 2000s, the argument of creationism and evolution was a hot topic, probably more so before that. But it had somewhat of a swan song in those decades. What I'm thinking is that evolution, from a religious perspective, is no different than creationism. There are individuals in religious sect that will say things like, dinosaurs don't exist, it's all made up. I put that in the flat earth category. But I think the existence of something like a god is so profound and so complex. It's like for a human to invent a new color. It's complex. It's not for our minds to really wrap our heads around. We're not capable of certain thought and certain understanding. But
If
what we
one
do,
thing is, even in principle, unintelligible, then it clearly isn't even remotely like anything that's scientific.
Well, I guess if you're looking for science, then you're talking about data, and you're talking about taking provable reality that's been challenged over and over and over again, and then it is then approached with different hypotheses and different approaches towards a thing. That's science. That's, challenging a process of reality. Science isn't much like science fiction is a subject in a film or a theme in a story. Science is a process. But it doesn't start from the data. It starts from the imagination. It starts with what comes out of the gut that goes, I wonder if this is possible. Typically, the university through the last centuries has been the place for that, in which you go, I have a different theory, I have a different perspective, this hasn't been challenged, I'm going to put my life's work into it. And that work is the science. It's the challenging and maybe hitting a series of dead ends and beating your head against the wall when it comes to how you actually come up with some sort of problem that you can then solve. But it all comes from the imagination. And that's probably one of the greatest things that we have that separates us from most of life on this planet, the cerebral cortex, and our ability to think about the future and rely about what we've learned in the past. And you could put that in the category of science, because our brains are developed in a manner to where we can actually think about the things that have happened. And more importantly, we've created a societies that also create kind of a body within a body, in the sense of, I can learn from something that happened that, an ancestor did wrong through history and so forth. All that is a scientific process. But still, the desire to do different and more and better, even if it's just to have more comforts, comes from the imagination. The question I would have is, where does that come from? And it is all part of why we dream and why we spend so much time in monotony imagining things, why we do things like fall in love, why do we appreciate music, why does music sometimes become a thing that we share in the same feeling and then have an individual feeling towards certain harmony. Science is not going to explain everything, but science will be able to map things. But, stakes in the ground of time that says this was unrefutable reality. Even if you just give something a name, like gravity, you give it a name, that doesn't mean you understand what it is. You just know that it is. And I don't think the process of finding that out is really ever going to be fully understood. Probably not in our lifetimes when it comes to gravity specifically. But thank you for having me on.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm pretty sure I get it now. Oh.